Hello and welcome to Anatomy of Qi, Volume 1, Chapter 8. Hope you've been enjoying the series so far. I like giving this information out because it's helpful. This is something that I deal with on a daily basis with all my patients and something I think about for myself all the time because I want to stay healthy as well. First I want to break a word down, disease. Ease means things are working as they should. Dis means they're not. So dis-ease means a lack of ease. So let's take the stomach, for example. The organ accepts food, releases enzymes, breaks down the food, and food goes to the next chamber for your body's use. If everything is working in ease, you eat your meal, it goes through your system, your body utilizes that food to make new tissues, whether it's skin cells or hair cells or lung cells or liver cells. That's what food is used for assimilation of nutrients and making new tissue. Under the right conditions, this is going on all the time and we don't even know it. But let's talk about an upset stomach. The energic reason may be that you ate something that wasn't good for you or wasn't properly prepared, or didn't agree with you in one fashion. Energically, you might not have the enzymes to deal with that. Emotionally, you might have upset that energic process by being upset. Now let's talk about why that would happen. Let's say I'm upset when I eat. Energy, the default condition of the energy of the body, the innate intelligence of the body, is digestion of food to make new tissues, make new cells. If for some reason my body gets threatened, as I mentioned in the last video and the video before, by something, a tiger trying to eat me, not that there are tigers coming to eat me in my house, but if there's a threat, whether real or perceived, the body sends its energy into tension in the arms, legs, and back to protect us from the danger or to run away. That's what happens. After the danger is over, that's called the fight or flight response, by the way, in scientific terms. After the threat is over, the body calms down and then goes back to its normal default function, which is digestion of food to make new tissues. Now, let's say while I'm eating something upsets me. Well, guess what? The body shifts into that fight or flight mode, sends tension into my arms and legs, and all of a sudden the enzymes aren't being released that are necessary to digest the food. Ergo, at first you might get an upset stomach. It doesn't feel so good to eat when you're upset. But let's talk about long term. Let's say somebody energically lacks the enzymes to digest a certain food that they like a lot, i.e. a food allergy or something that's not good for them. There are lots of foods, and we'll talk about that in later volumes. There are lots of foods that we shouldn't be eating. Just because they're produced doesn't mean that they're healthy for you. Watch commercials on TV. Anyway. So food comes into our body and it needs to be broken down, and if we lack those enzymes, that's not okay. There's also something called food combining. Many people, don't combine their foods correctly. This is another topic later on. And certain foods will pass through the system incompletely digested. That's not good for your energy system as well. So this is still just a lack of ease. Okay, we're not getting to dis-ease yet, a lack of ease. Now, long-term repetition of this lack of ease in the stomach will start to break down the stomach walls, and everybody knows that one of the most common things that people get when they're stressed regarding dietary function is an ulcer. An ulcer is where the acid is secreted in the stomach when there's no food there at an improper time, and it burns a hole through the side of your stomach. And we really are a nation on antacids. Again, watch TV, watch the commercials. Instead of dealing with why this is happening, at least in our country, I don't know about other countries because I haven't lived there, we're encouraged to take things to calm it down instead of dealing with the issue. So the first thing is a lack of ease. Now, if that lack of ease lasts for a long time, could be weeks, months, years, it depends on the individual, the organ will break down and then it will become diseased. So in Chinese medicine, it is stated that first you have an energy block, then you have a benign cyst, then you have a malignant tumor. Now, benign cyst is a translation from the Chinese. It really is it can be taken many different ways. But in the idea of the stomach, the energy block could be getting indigestion because you're not eating right or eating when you're stressed out. The next level could be you get an ulcer, and things, your stomach, and then ultimately it could lead to diseases like stomach cancer. Now this doesn't happen overnight. When somebody goes to the doctor because they have a certain pain, well, except for appendicitis or a sudden gallbladder attacks, but those still with dietary issues that might have led up over time. Most things, when you get diagnosed with them, they've been going on, diseases get diagnosed with. Most things like that, they've taken time. And I talked about in an earlier episode, and if you're new to this series, please go back and watch it. And for some of you who are not new to this series, you might want to study some of those ideas as I present them. The body's supposed to be a tube that energy flows through. If it doesn't flow through, energy gets stuck. Well, let's say energy is supposed to flow through and go through our body. And let's say we're eating food that's supposed to flow through our body, and we're supposed to make new tissues with it. And all of a sudden it gets stuck here. Well, sooner or later that congestion is going to lead to a deeper and deeper issue, and that's just the stomach. We've got lots of organs too. We got liver, we got kidneys, we got heart, etc. I can talk about each of the organs and talk about the diseases that can manifest. So energically, let's take food. Energically, you want to eat what's good for you. You want to keep in mind that you don't want to be upset when you eat because you don't want to add the components of that energy block. So again, first you have energy block followed by a benign cyst, followed by a malignant tumor. Now, again, this could take years. My goal is prevention. For everybody that watches this, I hope that you take it a little bit to heart and you use some of these ideas for prevention of future problems. Because you really can't do anything about what happened in the past with your grandparents or even what happened when you were a kid. Well, sometimes you can structurally. But as we are right now, this is where we're right here. We can prevent the pain of the future. Okay, there's the pain of the past, the pain of the present, the pain of the future. We can't do anything about the past. We could do some stuff about the pain of the present, but we could definitely do stuff about the pain of the future. We don't have to suffer with that. So, keeping that in mind, one of the good examples of how energy blocks can become an issue, and this is for men. First, there's an energy block, followed by a benign cyst, followed by a malignant tumor. And they've known that with prostate issues, you'll have a benign cyst called benign hypertrophic prostatitis if a man has this issue. And if left alone, it will go to prostatic carcinoma. Now, what's the energy block there? Well, it could be an old injury, sports injury. They were wrestling, they got hit, in the perineum, okay, in that area. It could be stress. What happens is, and a lot of people don't realize this, the anus is a sphincter. And we hold it tight when we get stressed. So what happens is right in front of the anus, in the male, is the prostate. And if it's held tight, there's a lack of blood supply to the prostate. And over time, the prostate breaks down. Every organ in our body needs blood. As I said in one of the earlier ones, where blood flows, chi follows. Where chi goes, blood follows. So you need the energy. We need blood going to a certain area. If I put a tourniquet around my arm and don't allow blood to my hand's going to fall off. Well, not literally. I mean, it's going to die. The tissue is going to die. So what we want to do is we want to make sure our blood's going. Well, in the case of stress, where the man holds his, he's in business, high-powered businessman. He's 40 to 50 years old. He's under a lot of stress, but he can't show that stress because, again, thousands of years ago, if somebody threatened you, you could choke them or run out of the room. Now, you're in a business meeting and you have to hold it in. Okay, I get it, Mr. Smith. I understand. And you have to hold that tension in. Well, it's got to go somewhere. Well, you wouldn't hold it here in the business meeting. Everybody would see it. So you hold it inside. You hold it in your stomach. You hold it in the anus. And what happens is when that anal sphincter is tight, it shuts off blood supply to the prostate. And then the prostate starts to break down. Again, this doesn't happen the first week on the job. This would take many years, which is why a lot of men who are diagnosed with prostatic carcinoma, they're in their 50s and 60s, sometimes even later. So the seeds were planted early on, how they dealt with stress, which muscles were tight. Oh, by the way, there's an American Indian herb called saw palmetto, and it's been tested scientifically to help with the prevention of benign hypertrophic prostatitis. And how does it work? It softens the prostate. Isn't that interesting? The reason it softens the prostate, okay, because it's an herb that acts on the prostate and allows blood to flow there. And if blood is flowing to the prostate, that deals with the energy block on an herbal level. So just some food for thought here, literally food for thought, about how disease processes can manifest in the body. And we could take each and every organ and talk about the emotional content, the dietary content, the exercise content or lack thereof, and how it can manifest this disease. And I hope to map out as much as I possibly can in a manner that everybody can understand and apply to themselves, and ultimately give people tools, again, that's the later volumes, to help themselves out and prevent this for themselves. Okay, that's all for today. Anatomy of Chi, Volume 1, Chapter 8.